Imagine hearing a creepy story as a kid, laughing about it, then years later discovering someone actually committed a crime because they believed it. Not because they were inspired by a movie, not because of a video game, because of an urban legend. The kind of stories people tell at sleepovers when the lights are off, and everyone suddenly remembers they need to use the bathroom. Today, we are looking at 5 urban legends that didn't stay legends. Stories that crossed the line from creepy campfire tales into real police reports. And trust me, some of these sound so ridiculous that if they appeared in a horror movie, audiences would complain the writers were trying too hard. Let's begin with probably the most famous example ever. In 2009, the internet created a monster. A tall, faceless figure wearing a black suit. No eyes, no mouth, no explanation. Just a man-shaped nightmare who apparently spent his free time stalking children in forests. This was Slender Man, and unlike most monsters, he wasn't born from ancient folklore. He was literally created on an internet forum. That's right. One of the most infamous monsters in modern history started because someone basically said, "You know what would make this photo creepier? A 7-foot tall business consultant from hell." Most people understood it was fiction. Two 12-year-old girls did not. They became convinced Slender Man was real and believed they needed to prove their loyalty to him. So they lured their friend into the woods, then stabbed her 19 times. The victim somehow survived, which is honestly one of the most incredible parts of this entire story. Imagine surviving 19 stab wounds and then having to explain to police that your attackers did it because of a faceless internet meme. The girls later told investigators they believed Slender Man would harm their families if they didn't carry out the attack. It's one of the most disturbing examples of an online urban legend influencing a real-world crime. And somehow, this is only number 5. Every kid knows about the Bloody Mary ritual. Stand in front of a mirror, turn off the lights, say Bloody Mary several times, then immediately regret every life decision that led you to this moment. Nobody actually expected a ghost to appear. At least most people didn't. According to reports from the late 1970s, one woman became deeply obsessed with the legend after hearing it as a child. Years later, her obsession spiraled into something terrifying. One night she allegedly broke into a neighbor's house at around 3 a.m., covered in her own blood, carrying a shard of a broken mirror, chanting parts of the ritual, which is already a sentence that sounds like it belongs in a horror movie trailer. The family woke up to find what looked like the final boss of a haunted bathroom standing in their home. She reportedly believed she had become Bloody Mary's vessel and attacked members of the household. Thankfully, authorities intervened before anyone was killed. Imagine trying to explain that situation to emergency services. "Hello, yes, I think Bloody Mary just broke into my house. Sir, have you been drinking?" "No, but she definitely looked like she has." This urban legend has terrified teenagers for decades. The story usually goes like this. A babysitter is home alone with children. She keeps receiving strange phone calls. A creepy voice asks if she's checked on the kids. The calls continue. Eventually, police trace the calls and discover they're coming from inside the house, specifically upstairs, right above her. "Congratulations, you are now afraid of staircases." The legend became so popular that it inspired multiple horror movies. But in the 1950s, a real case emerged that sounded disturbingly similar. A teenager reportedly became fascinated with the story. Instead of simply enjoying the scary tale like a normal person, he decided to audition for the role. He secretly entered a home where a babysitter was working, then hid upstairs for hours. Imagine the dedication. Most people can't stay focused on a YouTube video without opening another tab. This guy committed to hiding in an attic for an entire evening. He repeatedly called the babysitter, making threatening statements and claiming he was coming downstairs. When police arrived, they discovered him hiding in the children's room with a knife. And suddenly the urban legend wasn't a story anymore. It was evidence. This is the point where every babysitter watching this video just checked behind them. Twice. This one is so bizarre it sounds completely made up. The urban legend goes like this. A woman comes home and finds her dog choking. She rushes the dog to a vet. The vet later calls in a panic. Apparently the dog wasn't choking on a toy. It was choking on human fingers, which means someone was hiding in the house. It's weird. It's random. And somehow people have repeated this story for decades. Then in 1981, someone apparently decided that hearing the legend wasn't enough. He wanted people to experience it. According to reports, a man broke into homes and forced families to put their hands into their dogs' mouths. Yes, that is an actual sentence. No, I don't know why either. Investigators said he would hide and watch the chaos unfold. Several victims required surgery after being beaten. When questioned, he allegedly explained that he wanted to make the urban legend real. Think about that for a second. Most people hear a story and move on with their lives. This guy had a story and said, "You know what this needs? A field test." It's one of the strangest examples of a copycat crime ever recorded. And somehow we still haven't reached the weirdest story. Imagine driving down a dark road. You look ahead and see a man wearing a rabbit costume. Not hopping, not handing out chocolate eggs, but throwing hatchets. Welcome to the legend of the Bunny Man. The original stories began in Virginia during the 1970s after reports surfaced of a mysterious individual dressed as a rabbit, frightening people near an overpass. The tale grew over the years, as urban legends do. Every retelling made it crazier. Every version made it scarier, until Bunny Man became a local horror icon. Then decades later, someone decided to recreate the legend, because apparently becoming a functioning member of society was not exciting enough. The copycat dressed the part and attacked teenagers near the same bridge with an axe. Investigators later learned he had become fascinated with the story and wanted to become part of the legend himself. Think about how insane that is. Most people hear a local ghost story and think, "Wow, that's creepy." This guy had it and thought, career opportunity. The attack shocked the community because it blurred the line between folklore and reality. The legend inspired someone to literally become the monster. And that's what makes this story the most disturbing entry on today's list. Urban legends are supposed to stay stories. They are warnings, entertainment, the kind of thing you tell your friends around a campfire before somebody inevitably says they had a twig snap behind them. But sometimes people take those stories seriously. Sometimes they become obsessed, and occasionally they decide they want to be a part of the legend themselves. That's when fiction becomes reality, and reality becomes much scarier than any campfire story. So the next time someone tells you an urban legend, remember, the monster probably isn't real. The people who believe it might be. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what's the creepiest urban legend you've ever heard of. And if it's about a guy in a rabbit suit throwing hatchets, maybe keep your distance. Thanks for watching.